Hi, and welcome to episode 150 of C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm Ren.
And I'm River.
And today we are going to talk about the Hollywood occult conspiracy. Yeah, I know.
I know.
So it's not exactly witchcraft, but it does border on magic and spirituality. So we thought we would
And
give it a go.
Satanism and all kinds of weird,
Yeah.
spooky, crazy shit.
So, first, what are we drinking? And right now, River still isn't 100%, so not really up to drinking as much, but she's having tea. I'm drinking water. I mean,
Okay, so since I last talked to you before we logged on, there has been a change. So we got a new TV,
hmm
and because our last one was like 15 years old, so we needed a new one.
Damn,
And
was it one of those box TVs, you old head?
no, I'm not that old. Jesus.
You said 15 years, and so my brain automatically goes 15 years
Was
ago
it
were
black
box
and white
TVs.
back
Yeah,
then?
box TVs, but even 15 years ago it wasn't box TVs. It was
Mm-mm.
still like fun flat
It was a
screens and
it was a
everything.
flat screen TV. It was just
I know, I'm just
anyway.
poking fun. 15 years is a long time to have a TV.
I know, and it worked pretty well. It just started to the sound started to go bad, so that the characters on the screen sounded like demons when we were watching them,
Oh,
like this
great.
this guttural sound in the
Well, the
background. I'm
movies you
like,
watch tend to match
I
that
mean,
anyways, so why not just
that's
have an added sound
true,
effect?
but football it didn't really go with very well, and I was afraid that it was going to go out before football.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. It was awful. But anyway, we got a new TV. It came in today, and my husband and I have been trying to hang it up and do the mount and do all that bullshit. And I have had a big old fight with the Samsung account trying to get it set up. And so, bottom line is, I am now drinking wine. I said,
Okay,
fuck the tea.
great.
I need something stronger, but I am not
Well,
feeling well. So, that on top of all of that, I'm still not 100%. Oh, which I guess
yeah.
we should say, because we had mentioned once a couple episodes ago that we might do the Indie South
Yes,
booth
yes,
thing,
yes.
but I am not up
We've
to that.
no, we have had to draw back on that. Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot. We're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, we're not doing it, and we can't do it in October or November, but there's a big one in December.
hmm
So maybe we can do it then and maybe have some Yule stuff for sale as
Oh
well as
yeah.
doing our podcast live and talk to whatever people. That'll give people more time too to decide if they want to travel to Athens, Georgia, where
Yeah,
Indy
to come
South
see us.
is,
Who
to
would
come
do
see
that?
us, right?
Who would
I
want to
know.
travel to see me? Jeez.
Especially down here in the South. I mean, why? I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. It's actually chillier this year than it has been. I'm hoping maybe by Halloween it'll be cold.
Oh, I'm hoping, fingers crossed. I want
Mm,
a cold winter. Like
mm-hmm.
freeze my toes off cold, please.
Me too. And
Please.
snow. I want snow. We
I
don't
just
get
want it to be
snow.
cold. I want
I
to, when I
do.
take my dog out in the morning, I want to lose my nose because it's that cold. I want like to be able to touch it and it's like ice. Like
Hmm.
I want it to be cold. But
Oh, I have to say, one of our Facebook people told me about, well, she posted on Facebook because I posted a wine meme like I always do.
yeah.
And she had posted her favorite wines is witch's brew. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh my God, that's what Ren and I are going to drink on our next podcast episode. And so I went to order some. I don't even think I ever told you this.
Mm-mm.
Um, and they're sold up in Michigan, all around
Oh.
the Great Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, that's okay. They'll deliver. I was going to get three different bottles, three different flavors for us both to enjoy. And it was
Mm-hmm.
going to cost like three times the cost of the wine to get it delivered down here.
Oh, well, that just means we got to take a trip up there and bring a
Yes.
whole van worth back with us.
I love that idea. I love that idea. Okay, we're totally off topic. So
Yes, yes.
What
So this one, it's going to be a shorter episode just
it is.
because we know you're not 100%
Yeah.
yet. And it's just we've been so busy and
Hmm.
etc. We all know the thing. And I've been kind of running this show
I
and
know. Thank you so much.
I hope I'm as entertaining. I laugh at my own jokes, so I hope that amuses y'all. So,
Well, I think you're
anyways.
funny, but anyway.
Oh, well, I don't know. It is hard.
Yeah, when I covered for you when you were in the middle of school for that little bit, it is because I'll say stuff and usually you're like would say something back and then there would just be this dead silence and I'm like,
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's where I would interject and I would be like, "Well, River would say this," and I'm like both of us right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways,
Anyway.
what is the Hollywood occult conspiracy? So this is all alleged, obviously. They're all
Hmm.
conspiracies. I'm not trying
Hmm.
to get sued or anything.
Right.
But this is all online too, so none of it's like
Hmm.
yeah. Okay. So the Hollywood occult conspiracy is a set of beliefs and theories suggesting that the entertainment industry, particularly Hollywood, is deeply influenced or controlled by occult forces, secret societies, and esoteric practices.
You know what? I wonder since Atlanta is now becoming a big hotspot for movies and TV shows and
Mm-hmm.
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the Hollywood occult conspiracy is going to transmute or include the Atlanta occult conspiracy.
Maybe we have enough going on in Atlanta that we
I
don't really need
know,
an extra thing.
right? Right?
But these conspiracies often revolve around the idea that hidden symbolism, rituals, and dark spiritual forces are embedded in movies, music, and media to manipulate the public or push
Pursh.
certain agendas.
Pursh. I like that.
Pursh, wow.
Um, Yeah, I mean, so it's not just actors. You know, you think Hollywood, you think movies, you think TV, but it's also the music industry and
Yeah.
commercial companies,
I
all
mean,
of
I
that
know
kind of thing.
you've all heard all of like the conspiracy theories
Yeah.
and stuff. Like if you're
Yeah,
on social media at all, there's a
I
lot.
never really knew what the Hollywood occult conspiracy was. This was your idea to do this topic, and it's kind of fascinating. I had no idea.
It's
So,
rather interesting. Yeah.
yes, some of the conspiracy claims are number one, Illuminati influence. So
Yes.
one of the central ideas is that Hollywood is controlled by the Illuminati, which is a secret society believed to manipulate global events from behind the scenes, which is interesting because the original Illuminati was in Germany
Hmm.
and it was effectively pushed down. What is the word? They
Like
it
suppressed or
Yes, suppressed, and supposedly it didn't survive. And so the things that are now calling themselves Illuminati supposedly have no connection to the actual Illuminati from the past. But
okay.
some theories say, oh, that's not true. Some of the people did, pass it on generations, and so the Illuminati now is has connections to the original Illuminati. But anyway, according to these theories, many celebrities, directors, and producers are either members of the Illuminati or are being used by them to spread subliminal messages promoting their agenda, which
Hmm.
I think you're too young to remember this. I don't know if you all were taught in school or not, but I remember hearing about when commercials used subliminal messages to try to get people to buy their products. There's a really famous example from 1957, which this guy, James Vickery, he was some researcher, a market researcher, and he
Hmm.
claimed to have conducted an experiment in which he inserted the phrases drink Coca-Cola and eat popcorn into a movie, flashing them on the screen too quickly for viewers to actually perceive them, but that these subliminal flashes caused an increase in the sale of popcorn and Coca-Cola. And I
Hmm.
remember being taught that in school, but I don't know if it was ever a legitimate study or if it was really done, but when I looked online, I asked Chat GPT, was there really subliminal messages in commercials? And it said yes. So
Oh.
there you have it. But anyway, I do remember being taught that. And I always wondered if that was something that really could, you know, cause you to, gosh, I really want popcorn. And, I mean, I don't
Probably.
know. I don't
I
know.
feel like everything in this type of environment, like culture wise, like the media and people who flaunt themselves, and I mean, everybody's wanting to benefit from something.
Hmm.
So whether it's a hidden society or just upfront wanting to make money and profit and make these statements, so like drinking Coca-Cola and eating popcorn during a movie, which is essentially still a thing, like
Yeah.
every single time you sit down for a movie, you're like, what do you want to eat? Popcorn.
Popcorn, of
And
course.
so that's just like, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's not as much
Maybe
anything
it's more
into it's
Pavlov's dog where we're conditioned to want it
yeah,
because we always
exactly.
go to the movies and get a frozen Coke. I always got a frozen Coke and popcorn. That was always my thing.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
so,
so
yeah,
I mean, yeah, we're
but
just conditioned. I like
you
that word,
know,
like conditioned to think these things because it's been that way for so long because these people set it up that way or
a
blah
lot
blah
of
blah.
dystopian shows, and I can't remember the names of any off the top of my head, but they use subliminal messaging to try to change people's behavior. And that's kind of what this conspiracy theory is talking about, is
Hmm.
that using these
Hmm.
subliminal things. Like in Clockwork Orange, did you ever watch that? A Clockwork
Yeah, I
Orange.
think
It was a
so.
book, but I never read the book, but I saw the movie.
Yeah,
It's
I
very,
think so.
very disturbing. Roddy McDowall, I believe, was who acted in it. And
Hmm.
it went far beyond subliminal messaging to actual conditioning to try to prevent criminals from committing crimes. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
I have heard of this kind of thing, and that's a lot of what this conspiracy theory is about, is that it's trying to control the public, basically, that they're using Hollywood, or Hollywood is using
Okay,
these
yeah.
things to control
But I
us.
feel like everybody's doing that now with and
I,
like
I
with
mean, you're
social
right.
media
I
and
mean,
all
that's
of that.
kind of the point. You've got the influencers that are out there that
Oh yeah,
they
that's
want
exactly what they
to,
do.
that's their
Yeah.
whole point.
Hmm.
But symbolisms like the all-seeing eye, pyramids, and certain hand gestures are often pointed to in films and music videos and award shows as being, quote, evidence of this conspiracy theory.
I mean, if that's the conspiracy theory, there's no conspiracy theory about it because if, I feel like it's just like it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been through, I guess we are conditioned to it to
Mm-hmm.
see all of these things where we are influenced to purchase these things and
Mm-hmm.
these people's brands and rep
Mm-hmm.
them and flaunt them so other people would want to buy that too. And
Mm-hmm.
whatever the person stands for, that's what their product stands for. And then when you buy it, that's what you're feeding into,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like maybe that's not like a conspiracy anymore. It's just general what happens now versus what
Yeah,
maybe it
it's a
didn't used to be
thing.
like that in the past.
Maybe
And
this,
now,
maybe we're now in the future of what they were worried about with this conspiracy theory to begin
yeah,
with. At
yeah,
least that part of it. There's more to it too. There's
yes,
more to
yes.
there's more, what is the word? More claims about this conspiracy theory. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And there's like there's so many conspiracy theories about this stuff. It's not even funny.
Hmm.
I was yawning while I was talking, so my voice kind of went in and out.
Yeah, your face went funny.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
was
what is she
yawning. I
doing?
was like, I'm trying not to yawn, but mid-sentence. Anyways, so there's satanic imagery and rituals embedded
Okay.
in some Hollywood occult conspiracies. And this kind of conspiracy is the idea that many stars are involved in satanic rituals, which we've all heard that, obviously.
And why I really get on my little soapbox about how they always throw, oh, it's witchcraft, Satan. Those two things are not necessarily the same thing. I mean,
You're
there may
preaching
be,
to the choir.
I know, it pisses me off. And some of the research I did on this stuff was like, no, Satanism is not the same thing
Hey,
as
we
witchcraft. But
have
anyway,
reiterated that almost in every single one of our episodes. People are like, we
yeah.
get it. Okay, we get it. But
Yeah,
no, we don't, because
I
as a
watched
society, we still think that witches are bad and
I
involved in demonic, satanic stuff.
Have
So
you watched the Mayfair Witches?
probably,
It's based on Anne Rice's books, but I haven't read those books yet. I read all of her vampire books, but I haven't read
probably,
her Mayfair
but
Witches books. I mean series. But anyway,
But
that
I've learned if
series.
you throw names at me, if like you're like, "Hey, do you know this movie? Do you know this?" My brain goes blank. I need you to show me a physical picture. Show me a
It's
physical like actor or whatever that plays in it, and then I'll be able to say, "Yeah."
Yeah, it's the series is okay. I bet. Well, I mean, I liked it a lot. I don't want to tell you it was just okay,
Mm-hmm.
but the books, I imagine the first season, which was only 8 episodes, if they had followed the book detail, it could have been like 24 episodes.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit shortened.
Yeah.
But the reason I brought that up is because in that series, there's the same type of witch hunt nowadays. And, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting here watching this show and they're like, oh, witches make deals with the devil. And I'm like, there are witches that go that route and that's more power to them.
I
That's
mean,
whatever
I
that
also don't think you need to be a witch to make a deal like that.
with the devil, right? It doesn't have anything
Yeah.
to do with being a witch. It
Yeah.
has to do with other things. But
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox now.
Your high horse.
My high horse. Yes.
So, these conspiracies claim that celebrities achieve fame and fortune by making pacts with darker forces.
Yeah.
Okay, we've
Yeah.
all
The
heard that.
deals with the devil. Yeah.
Yeah. So, symbols such as like inverted crosses, which that's another story, blah,
Mm-hmm.
pentagrams and goat imagery associated with Baphomet,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you pronounce it,
Mm-hmm.
are said to be placed kind of like deliberately in music videos, movie sets, public appearances as like a wider part of their agenda, their that like quote satanic agenda, whatever you want to
That's so
call it.
crazy. Yeah.
Now, I
Did you
will say
go ahead?
there are many things that do kind of lead up to like there are some music videos that kind of lean heavily into that like
But
type of imagery.
because of the song, I mean, like when you're watching a horror movie, of course there's going to be inverted
Yeah,
crosses and shit. But and a lot of the songs are meant to conjure up those feelings of being afraid or rebelling against the society. It's so,
yeah. It's just some people
it's
are sensitive to certain topics such as satanic agendas, blah blah blah. And so I mean a lot of people aren't like open-minded and
right.
understanding. A lot of people don't really have that type of mindset. And so when they see something like that, then they're like, "Oh, that person is associated with
Hmm.
satanic stuff," even
As
though maybe it
opposed
was trying to be portrayed as like an art.
artistic.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
Now, there are
Yes.
some cases where I'm like, oh, why would you even use any of that? Because the song has nothing to do with that, or the movie has nothing to do with that. But it's also maybe in their heads it made sense. Or
Yeah, and
maybe they
maybe
are on, maybe it is a satanic agenda, but
true.
it's not the whole Hollywood. It's
Hollywood,
maybe
yeah.
just that individual or maybe a couple of
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
Anyways.
Yeah, so Baphomet is interesting to me. He is typically a winged goat-headed figure with
Mhm.
both, I say he, but they have both male and female parts.
Okay.
Um, and they're often you see Baphomet seated in a meditative gesture, like crisscross
Oh, I
applesauce, that
think I
kind of
know.
thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And usually there's one hand pointing up and the other hand pointing down,
yeah.
which is generally meant to represent the concept of duality and,
Like as above, so
opposites.
below type
Yes,
of vibe. Yeah.
yes, good versus evil, light
Mm-hmm.
versus dark,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I found that to be interesting. And Baphomet sounds Egyptian, but I didn't do enough research to
I
go
don't think
into.
that he is. I don't
No,
think
okay,
so. I don't
okay.
think so, but I
Because you
could be
know
wrong.
most of the Egyptian
Yeah,
stuff.
it's not ringing any bells in that, but I could also be wrong.
Okay. We are
Um,
often wrong, so there you go.
yes, hold on, I'm Googling it really quick. Uh, it just says Baphomet is a deity that the Knights Templar were accused of
Oh,
worshiping that subsequently became incorporated into various occult and Western
okay.
esoteric traditions.
So the Knights Templar also, there's a whole bunch of conspiracy theories about the Knights Templar
It
that
says
kind of
in
tie into the
1307,
Illuminati.
members of the Knights Templar and the Kingdom of France were suddenly charged with heresy and arrested for,
Heresy.
yeah, heresy, whatever.
Yeah.
I cannot read. Um, I think we've all kind of understood that I'm illiterate. Heresy and arrested after their leader it's a French name, had recently come to France for meetings with Pope Clement V, and many, including their leader, were burned at the stake.
Oh,
Jeez,
wow.
maybe that we should do a whole story on
On the
this.
Knights Templar, because I've always thought of the Knights Templar as being a holy, like Catholic or Protestant, whatever it was at the time of the Knights
Yeah.
Templar,
And there's a picture of a Templars being burned at the stake, illustration from the anonymous German chronicle Von des Skrochvolk der Weltbisch in 1384. I'm trying. I got a little bit of French guttural in there because I took French for so long and
it
I
was
know
it's
no German.
I was going to say I've got one of my children takes German, so we would have to ask her how to pronounce that.
Schopenfang, like Schopenfang der Weltbisch in
Yeah, she
1384.
she is so adorable because, we've got a lot of German in our family, and she is the only one of my children that took German,
Uh-huh.
which I mean, in the United States, I think Spanish is probably the most
Like
useful.
beneficial. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
that's
most
one of the reasons
beneficial.
why I didn't take Spanish. I took French because when are you going to on the daily learn French? You
Hmm.
can probably pick up Spanish pretty easily. And there's so many
Yeah,
apps and everything that you can use
I
nowadays
took
to
French
learn different
too,
languages.
but Latin was really my thing. I took
Yeah.
Latin and then Latin in college, French only in
Hmm.
high school. How did we get off onto that
I don't know.
topic?
Anyways,
Okay, go
so
ahead.
another conspiracy theory is mind control. So, MK Ultra type of
Yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah.
many conspiracy theories around Hollywood connect it to MK Ultra, a real CIA mind control program from the 1950s and 60s.
That was the
So,
one where they gave people LSD and shit. You know the story Firestarter? I think it was a Stephen King story.
hmm.
That child was born from two parents who were in the MK Ultra program and given LSD and all these experimental drugs and developed powers and that kind of thing. But anyway, it
Oh,
was
I
it
think
was a real it was a real
okay.
program.
So these theories claim that many celebrities have been subjected to trauma-based mind control and used as quote puppets by powerful elites. So
Oh,
symbolism like
did
butterflies. Yes,
okay. Did you watch Fringe?
I did.
That is discussed in Fringe as well. The trauma-based mind control.
Okay. See, I don't remember much. I watched it when it first came out. I was
Mm-hmm.
younger and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't remember. My brain eats things out of its head that I don't need on a daily, so I don't remember things very well. So, huh,
Blah, 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 blah.
uh, symbolism like butterflies or monarch programming, and reference references to dual personalities are often pointed out as signs of like this
This mind
conspiracy
control.
theory. Yeah.
Yeah, the monarch programming involves this extreme psychological and physical trauma that were inflicted on individuals, often children, which is what made me think of Fringe, because the main character in Fringe had this happen to her as a child to try to develop powers. But it
Mm-hmm.
causes their minds to fracture into multiple personalities.
Uh-huh.
The dissociative identity disorder. And these
Yeah.
alter or split personalities are then programmed to carry out tasks or missions for covert purposes. Like, the main person, the main
Yeah.
identity doesn't even know, but they can be activated and then go assassinate someone and then go dormant again. And the main person has no idea that that's what
Yeah.
they've done.
Yeah.
And then speaking of monarchs, because they're butterflies,
Uh-huh.
um, I think we talked about butterflies before, but this always
We
fascinates me
have.
that they taste with their feet.
We have.
Yeah, I feel like
Yes,
that
yes.
that just blows my mind.
So when you
And
hold a butterfly, they're tasting whatever's on your skin.
yeah, and the reason they do that is to try to find a good place to lay their eggs.
Oh.
And so, if it doesn't taste proper, whatever
Mm-hmm.
they're looking for, they won't lay their eggs there. But symbolically, butterflies are connected to the soul and the
Hmm.
quest for love and beauty. And they've shown up in the Chinese culture and art as symbols of love, romance, beauty, and freedom. And then, of course, they're a sign, the ultimate sign, I think, the symbol of transformation and change because they go
Yeah.
from the caterpillar to the butterfly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally different creatures. Anyway, I just love butterflies. Sorry, that was off point.
So another one is selling your soul for fame.
Mm-hmm.
So, a common
Mm-hmm.
theme of these conspiracies are that the musicians, the actors, any type of entertainers kind of sell their soul to gain that success, to gain that rapid recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this is often depicted as a literal or symbolic pact with demonic forces, of course, granting them fame and fortune in exchange for their soul. Now, i.e.,
Mm-hmm.
what is your soul? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really. So stories of strange behavior, mental breakdowns, or ultimate like deaths, of famous musicians like Kurt Cobain or Amy Winehouse, those are just examples, are
Mm-hmm.
sometimes interpreted as consequences of breaking or attempting to escape these pacts or deals.
With the devil. Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't we do I think in our Crossroad Magic episode, which I didn't think to look up what number that was, but you should go listen to it because it's interesting. We talked about these pacts with the devils, and there was a saxophone musician, a jazz musician,
Oh yeah, I
who,
remember.
yeah, sold his soul and only had 7 years or something. And so these
Hmm.
untimely deaths happen because you get
Yeah.
everything you want, whatever your bargain is, you get everything you want. But at the end of that time, you die and your soul goes with the devil.
Yeah.
And then they also talk about the hidden symbolism in movies and music videos. So a lot of these theorists believe that these videos are filled with these occult symbols and esoteric references to program the audience to prepare them for, quote, the new world order. Now, this is something I've heard about in a whole bunch of different conspiracies, not just the Hollywood occult conspiracy, but like the Illuminati, it's got its own set of conspiracies. But
Yeah.
supposedly, these symbols are being thrown at us, the public, to try to prepare us and have us be ready to accept this new world order. So things like the all-seeing eye, which represents control and surveillance, pyramids, which is connected to the Illuminati. You know how
Hmm.
the dollar bill,
Yeah.
sorry, I just swallowed wrong. The dollar bill has the pyramids on it and an all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
And so that they're like, oh,
See,
it's
how do you
the,
explain that? Hmm?
well,
Ooh-wee.
they talk about Freemasons and that kind of thing too. That's a whole nother conspiracy theory. But,
Yes.
the pyramid symbolizes fire. Um, you've got it's strength, stability, integrity, harmony, a storehouse of knowledge. I mean, think about the Egyptian pyramids. They they didn't just bury their dead there. They put all kinds of things to go with the dead to the other side. Um,
Yeah.
Pyramids are associated with heightened awareness, mind, body, and spirit. Oh, and then obelisks, those, how do you call it? It's a math thing. Jessica, help me. Anyway, obelisks, also sun symbolism, checkerboard patterns, all of these are thrown, they say, into these music videos and films, which the Washington Monument is probably the most famous obelisk that's out there. Anyway,
Hmm.
films like
Hmm.
National Treasure and the Da Vinci Code
Oh, I
featured.
like National Treasure a
I do
lot.
too. And the Da Vinci Code was good. Those featured obelisks, though not in secret, like the conspiracy theory is that all these things are put in there in secret. The whole point of those movies was that was part of the plot was that,
Yes.
those things that, and especially in the National Treasure, wasn't that was such a good movie.
Yeah. I do like that one.
So the one-eye gesture, I was like, what the hell is the one-eye gesture? It is apparently interpreted as a sign of allegiance to secret societies or dark forces. And so I was like, what the fuck is it? So I looked it
Huh.
up, and it is a symbolic gesture where one eye is covered or obscured while the other eye remains visible.
Oh, is that
So,
why a lot of them do that?
yeah, and I had no idea.
See, they're really not helping by playing into these, aren't
I
they?
know, right? It's making the conspiracy theorists like go, yeah,
Not
yeah,
seem,
that's
yeah,
it.
they
Yeah,
don't seem crazy.
yeah,
Which I mean, there always is truth behind a lot of stuff, you
that's
know?
true. That's
So,
true.
yes. But
Hmm.
there's also things like Hollywood deaths and or sacrifices.
Hmm.
So there's high profile deaths such as those of like Marilyn Monroe, Heath Ledger, or more recently, like relatively recently, Whitney Houston,
Hmm.
relatively, are often theorized to be part of like occult blood sacrifices meant to appease darker forces or maintain the power structure of the elites. So these deaths are sometimes viewed as ritualistic, according to significant dates or under mysterious circumstances.
I mean, who's doing the killing though? Because
I don't
like Heath
know.
Ledger overdosed.
I feel like, I mean,
I mean, a lot of them
a
overdosed. I
lot of
mean,
them are also into a lot of like the stuff they have. I don't want to say easier access, but they're like higher profile. Like there's a lot of pressure. People get into certain types of things like drugs and alcohol and all of that. And so it's easy
yeah,
to overdose. And so you can't really say things like
yeah.
that.
But
I mean, there's an excuse for everything.
that is the theory. I mean, in
Yeah.
fact, did you know there's a thing called the 27 Club? I had never heard of this. This is the a list of influential musicians, artists, and actors who all died at the age of 27.
Oh, wow.
So Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, all were 27 when they died. And so this
Hmm.
27 Club has been connected to various theories, including the Hollywood occult conspiracy theories, but also astrological and numerological
Wow.
interpretations. I know I'm struggling that suggest a supernatural or cursed element to these deaths. Heath
Hmm.
Ledger, he was 28, but they're like, that's close enough, which
Ugh,
I don't know if it is or
come
not.
on.
But plus we know he overdosed. I
Yeah.
mean, and I feel like artists in general, especially the ones that are that talented, tend to have issues. They just have issues. Um, and a lot of times that leaves them susceptible to doing the drugs and that kind of thing. I mean, but anyway, the theory is that these people were killed as sacrifices somehow. I don't
Hmm.
know. I
Yeah.
which makes no sense to
Yeah.
me. Anyway.
But I mean, this type of stuff it kind of plays in with like black magic, like a form of
Mm-hmm.
black magic with like
Mm-hmm.
satanic rituals and
Mm-hmm.
the suggestion that witchcraft and magic is involved,
Mm-hmm.
i.e., black magic, and it's practiced within Hollywood.
Yeah, I
And
think that's a
so
good point.
celebrities are said to use spells and incantations and ritual magic, which maybe if they do, then that's just black magic that they use. It's not that witches are all bad, etc.
Right.
But they could use these things to achieve success, protect themselves, and influence public opinion.
Mm-hmm. Which, like you said, nowadays, that's the whole purpose of
That's
social
everybody,
media is,
yeah.
yeah,
Everybody's doing that.
yeah. But I mean, sometimes stories emerge about specific celebrities being involved in the occult. And I think we talked about Stevie Nicks and how,
Uh-huh.
everybody's like, oh, she's a witch. And she's like, I am not a witch. But she does
She
have
plays
that.
into it very well.
She does. And she's got the aesthetic. She loves
Yeah.
the aesthetic. And her music is lovely, witchy music.
Hmm.
But there are people like Feruza Balk, and she is a famous actor who is associated with witchcraft, but that's probably because she played Nancy in that 1996 film, The Craft, which
Hmm.
of course has become a cult classic. But after the film, it was rumored that she began actually practicing witchcraft and even owned an occult shop in Los Angeles called Pan Pipe's Magical Marketplace.
Oh.
And she has actually discussed her interest in spiritual and mystical topics, but it's unclear as to whether she really practices witchcraft herself. But like you said, the whole social media thing, and I mean, this was before social media, but that that kind of launched her, that movie, The Craft, launched her into the public eye. And she could have just been using that notoriety in that type of way to further her money-making endeavors.
Yeah.
Rapper and singer Azealia Banks, she has openly discussed her practice of witchcraft and brujeria, which is a form of Afro-Caribbean folk magic. She's
Okay.
posted videos and social media content about performing rituals, and her interest in magic has sparked controversy, especially after sharing graphic details about her spiritual practices. She identifies a lot with her African roots, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and incorporates elements of witchcraft into her life. And then Jimmy Page is another one. He, of course, people should know. I, anyway, I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan. So he was the legendary guitarist of Led Zeppelin. And he was fascinated with Aleister Crowley, who we have talked about many, many times.
Hmm.
And he even bought Crowley's former home in Scotland, which I thought was funny.
Oh, wow.
And he was rumored to be in occult, uh, to delve into occult practices. And his interest in magic and mysticism influenced a lot of Led Zeppelin's imagery and music, and that fueled speculation about his connection to the occult.
Hmm.
So there
Okay.
are specific instances of actors or musicians or whatever artists, I guess I should say, um, who do embrace the occult, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that they're out there trying to sway the rest of the public.
Yeah.
But maybe there
Who
are.
knows?
I mean, we don't
There
know.
could be some. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
don't know.
I don't know. But I mean, there are darker agendas and social conditioning, like we've said.
Hmm.
So, like a broader theory is that they use these things like movies and television and music, and they're used to desensitize us.
Hmm.
And like there are a lot of things that are anti-religious themes
Hmm.
that can be seen as, pushing an occult agenda, I guess you could say.
But anti-religious as in anti-Christian
I don't
or
know.
anti,
Like, I mean, it's just like it could, I don't know. It's however
because
anybody wants to see it. Like everybody's going to perceive these things as something different.
yeah, I mean, there are so many religions out there.
I mean, there are movies that explore like dystopian futures and demonic possession and supernatural forces, and they're seen as preparing society for the new world order, quote, like
Hmm.
new world order,
Hmm.
or the acceptance of like darker spiritual forces. But I'm just like, I mean,
Like if we get exposed to it enough, we're going to say, okay, we're good with this happening
I
now.
don't know. Like I do believe that uh maybe media and like movies and stuff where are desensitized to a lot of things like
Hmm.
murder and
Hmm.
like scary things like you aren't scared of things like how you used to be and
Hmm.
um gore and blood and killings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like we're
that's
desensitized
true.
to stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, who's to say we're
I
not
mean, to me,
desensitized to dystopian futures? I mean, I think we're already living in a dystopian future, but
I
that's another
think you
subject for
might be
another
right.
day. But
But I mean, to me, it's weird. The whole point to me of dystopian fiction is to show what future might happen if we don't take care now. I feel like there's a moral to a lot of the dystopian um,
mhm.
shows or books, like,
Yeah.
post-apocalyptical worlds where humans ruin the planet for life. And so, they have to live on oxygen tanks or they have to,
Hmm.
I just feel like there's a lesson often to be learned as opposed to them desensitizing us and going, oh, yeah, we're going to be okay to not live on oxygen in the future. I feel like it's telling us, I think, a lot of times to beware what we're doing. Think
I feel like
about,
it's just like oh yeah, that could happen. Oh, this is
yeah.
what I could do, I guess. Oh no.
I mean, I've never watched a dystopian movie and thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to go Mad Max in the future. It's going to be so cool. I mean,
Some people
no,
do though.
no.
Like, Purge, like the
Yeah,
dystopian version of
yeah.
Purge. People are like, yeah, I would fuck shit up in Purge. If it were actually Purge, I
People
would be out
really
there
say that.
purging.
I
Yes.
I love those movies. I have watched every one of them and I find them fascinating, but from a political science, I majored in political science, and from a political science and anthropology point of view, I find anything about society changing, and dystopia is one of those things. I find all of that fascinating, but that doesn't mean that I'm being desensitized to it. In fact, I think the opposite might be true, that it's teaching us to beware what's going on now, climate issues, the day after tomorrow. Excellent movie about climate issues.
Yeah.
And I think that the moral is be aware of what's going on now. So I don't know. I don't know that I
Yeah.
agree with
Yeah.
that concept of the conspiracy theory. I don't know. It's a cool conspiracy theory. I mean, and you got to remember Hollywood people are famous and idolized and rich most often, and they are like, quote, the other half. And so people do often say, the only reason that they have these things that I can't have is because of some occult thing. They've made a
Yeah.
deal with the devil. Um,
Yeah, that's true.
so I don't know. But I found this conspiracy theory interesting. I had heard of it,
It is
but
interesting.
I didn't
Uh,
know the details of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean,
I
there's still
am
a lot that we could talk about. Yeah.
and I'm curious if it's going to spread to Atlanta now that we've got this huge industry here.
Yeah.
We're
I don't
we're
know.
bringing in a lot of the artists here.
Yeah, we are.
I don't know. Do you have anything else about the
I think
what
that's
made
it.
you want to do this
It's just
topic?
interesting. You hear about it a lot. You're like, oh, this person's canceled because they did this, this, and this. And can you believe that in their music video they did this? And can you
Mm-hmm.
believe that these conspiracy theories about them eating children or using children's blood to become
Mm-hmm.
younger, like all of that type of stuff? And they have code words for boys blood versus girl blood, blah, blah,
Really?
blah.
I had never
Yeah,
heard of that.
like pizza and hot dog or something like that.
Where
I don't
did
know. I
you
just
hear that? TikTok
probably
or
TikTok. I'm on TikTok all the time.
I didn't know that.
But I mean, who's to say any of that's real? Like you have to take everything that you hear on social media for a grain of salt. Like, like
I
it's
mean, but then things like P. Diddy's issue is coming out now, and who would have ever thought? You
I
know,
haven't heard anything about that.
you haven't heard about he's going to go to jail for a long, long time. He's been involved in sex trafficking and all kinds of stuff.
Oh. See, and that's
Allegedly.
also allegedly.
Allegedly.
And that's how that's another conspiracy theory is that a lot of Hollywood people and famous people are involved in all of sex trafficking and stuff like that too. That's not witchy,
Well,
so it didn't make it into this
no,
one,
it,
but
it didn't. But, again, when people are rich and powerful, it leads to doors that the rest of us don't have.
we don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have no opportunity or no, not that we would take an opportunity. That makes it sound like, oh, if we had that opportunity, we'd take it. But it leads to things that we aren't subject to. So it's hard you can't judge what someone's going to do in a circumstance that we can't even possibly understand.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'll never be that rich to understand what they come in contact with.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't see what they see every day.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know that I don't honestly, I don't think that there is an overarching conspiracy about Hollywood being used by the powerful.
Hmm.
There might be individuals who have
Which
come.
that's what I always say is like people like to blame a bunch of people, like witches,
Hmm.
for example, but it's not all, it's a
Right.
few.
Hmm.
But everybody gets clumped into those
Yeah.
stereotypes and those types of things and
Yeah.
all of that. So that goes for everything.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. But anyway, well, thank you for coming up with this topic. It was
yeah, it was
interesting.
interesting. Yeah,
Hmm.
I liked it.
Hmm. Me too. You can
So
do our outro.
yes. So if you like what you heard, you can find us at www.c3witchypodcast.com. There you will find links to all of our social media, all of our all of our episodes, our blog, information about our uh like Patreon and Buzzsprout how to support us.
Hmm.
We're coming out with new merch and we're so excited. I
We're
gotta
very, very
organize it.
close.
We're very
Yes.
close. I gotta organize it and get it all put together so that you guys can shop on it and hopefully we can get it rolling. I'm
I
excited.
hope so. Me too.
Um
Yeah, I'm wearing the t-shirt that Greg bought is one that I also bought. I'm wearing it right now, the one with the, but it's about to go, it's about to not be on sale anymore.
Uh-huh.
It's
And
limited
I will
time.
say I did a something
What
that
did you do?
I brought back one of my old designs.
Oh, nice.
I brought back
Okay.
one of my favorite ones, and I don't know if anybody bought it because I mean we've been using this third party and they are a bit pricier. We're still using a third party, but a little bit cheaper, a little bit better.
We're
And
trying.
I brought back one of my designs. I changed it up a little bit, like font wise and stuff, but
Okay.
brought back one of my designs for it's my Samhain design, and I'm really excited. I'll probably buy that one myself.
I
Um,
always do. I make
yep.
all these designs and I'm like, I'm gonna buy all of them. And I
Yep.
do.
Yep. Yeah, I'm like, I want to buy all of them. And then my brain goes, you don't need any of it. And I ended up with nothing.
Oh,
So
I buy
I
everything.
brought back one of my favorite designs that I did. So I did you'll never see it again, but I brought one back. I did change it a bit. So it's not exactly the
Okay.
same.
Okay.
But I did bring it back. And then obviously I made new ones. I'm very excited. I'm gonna spoil a little bit. I did a little Halloween cat one. I'm so excited. She's a
Yes,
little
I've seen
spooky
it.
ghost,
I love it.
a little ghost cat. And then I can't remember the other ones, but we're excited.
Yeah, we both did a stay witchy
And
because
those will stay up indefinitely.
forever.
We have
Because
indefinite designs and we have limited edition designs.
yeah, and a lot of you have said the stay witchy is a
Yes.
thing that you all really
Yes.
enjoy. So we both did one of those. I'm trying to work on a Samhain design. I'm not super happy with how they look once I
Hmm.
put them on the t-shirts. They look really
Hmm.
cool when I'm designing them, and then I put them on a t-shirt and I'm like,
And you're like,
eh, I don't
yeah, I've
know.
been there.
But we're so close. We're starting to actually populate our website, so
Yes.
it should be coming live soon.
Yes. I'm excited.
Um,
I think
in
that's
time
it.
for Christmas gifts, guys.
Yeah, but it's our Samhain edition. Bow.
I know, but Samhain's all the time.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Um, Thank you for listening.
Yes.
If you do like our show, which sometimes I wonder how anybody could when we go off on these rambles like this, but please consider supporting us. It is very, very, very helpful. We've got Buzzsprout and Patreon that you can support us through, and we appreciate every one of you that do.
Yes, we do.
Thank you
Mhm.
so much. You have no
Oh,
idea.
I've been doing spooky stories on there.
Have you?
Yeah, I've
You
been
didn't
writing
tell
some
me.
spooky stories. I did a Friday the 13th spooky
Oh, how
story,
fun.
and
I'll have to.
it was a wholesom little witch story, so you better go read it.
I'm
And
gonna
I posted
go.
another one. It was about the hollow one. It was like a little monster, foresty
Oh, how
monster.
fun. So yeah,
So,
if you do Patreon, you get extra goodies. If you do us through Buzzsprout, then you can listen to it on all your regular platforms like Spotify or
mhm.
whatever,
Yes.
which you can't do on Patreon. But with Patreon, you get extra stuff. So, decide what you want to do. It really means the world to us. Um, Thank you guys so much. We can't say that
Yes,
enough.
absolutely.
And we have our social media. Facebook seems to be the one that most people like to correspond with us on, but we're working on YouTube. So please, if you
Yes.
could just play our episode in the background, we're trying to get our views up. We have like 12 views. I
Better
mean,
than
it's,
nothing.
I mean, thank you for those 12. But I feel like if you all could help us, that is a forum that will help us generate income, which will help us do better. So
Yes.
anyway, thank you guys for listening. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
And until then, stay witchy.
Woo!